I feel really sad and disappointed because they didn't invite me. I feel completely excluded. Oh, come on, that's nothing. Don't be sad. I'm sure they made a mistake. Would you like a piece of chocolate? Do you know that situation when you vulnerably share something and people try to get rid of your feelings? Instead of acknowledging them with compassion, trying to fix and save you, as if there was something wrong with you, devaluing your feelings because they believe that you should feel differently. I'm really scared right now. But really, you don't need to be scared. There's no reason to be scared. But I am scared, even if you're telling me that I shouldn't be scared. Like this, I suppress my feelings and fake to be okay because I think there's something wrong with me. Is it familiar to you that your environment cannot cope with your feelings? Stop crying. A big boy like you isn't supposed to cry. A tough man knows no pain. Or that they can't stand feeling so powerless and incapable and helpless because they don't know how to help you. Oh my, these freaking feelings. I need to say something, otherwise I will look stupid. Just don't take it so seriously. Or because their own suppressed feelings are triggered and they want to avoid exactly that. Just don't worry, nothing lasts forever. I feel so ashamed and guilty and I'm scared to be excluded. Yes, by means of your suppressed fear, shame and guilt, I can manipulate you, keep you small, educate you and make you obey. And by means of your suppressed fear and aggressiveness, I can steer you up against others and turn you against them. The reason and cause of all of our problems is that we had to split off parts of our personality and feelings because our environment didn't know how to deal with them and they were not welcome. Damn, I'm so upset because once more I didn't set my boundaries. Why don't you go for a walk and come back once you've come down again? Because you scare me by making me having to face my own suppressed anger. As children, we needed a co-regulation of our family and parents in order to calm down and to regulate our feelings. Which means that we are held in our feelings and that they are acknowledged and validated without getting rid of them or trivializing them. Yes, that is difficult. If that doesn't happen, we enter in distress and the feelings are trapped in our overexcited nervous system and get suppressed. We get permanently trapped in fight-flight response and also fear and freeze, but without being conscious of it. I feel completely lost and trapped with no way out. At the same time, we constantly try to avoid situations that confront us with our suppressed pain. We split off those feelings and parts of our personality, become lifeless and are reduced to merely functioning in our society. I have no clue about what I want and what I love, and I do everything I am told and follow the crowd. We are split from ourselves and are driven by fear and lack instead of love. These suppressed emotions then control our lives from the background. And we search for solutions in substitutes and coping mechanisms in the outside world. In consumption, distraction, money, power, relationships, fame, and all kinds of addictions. I want to be rich, famous and powerful and all women should fall for me. That's when I'm going to be happy. But unfortunately it doesn't work that way. Nothing in the outside world can make us happy and fill our inner void, because what we are really looking for are our split of feelings and parts of our personality. But instead we lie, pretend, cheat, manipulate and we create wars and conflict. We are needy little children who are substituting being held, feeling connected and safe with all kinds of distractions in the outside world. And now I would like to tell a story which happened a couple of years ago and which was very insightful and almost life-changing. Back then I was doing the nature therapy training and in the last module we had to make a fire. And the special thing was that the teacher didn't tell us how to do it. So we had to find out on our own, and he put out a lot of stuff like pine cones, pine needles, pine twigs, pieces of wood, tinder, char cloth, flintstones and a horseshoe-like shaped piece of metal. And the only thing he told us was a saying of the Native Americans, which is, show me how you light your fire and I'll tell you who you are. Because when we watch people light their fire, we can see their patterns, we can see their very own way of functioning and also their conditionings, which can be very insightful. But that's not the story I want to tell. The story I want to tell is about a woman who told her story at the end, and which was very touching, insightful and life-changing. And she told us that she was very optimistic and very curious about the process of lighting a fire. And we had to do it in pairs, 2 people together, 1 person assisting or just watching and the other one lighting her fire. And she told us that she was very curious and very optimistic and she tried to light her fire. She tried and tried and tried and she didn't manage. At one point she had a look around and she saw that there were no fires burning. And she kept on trying until she had a look around and she saw that all the other fires were burning and she was the only one who hadn't managed. And she felt very bad about herself, she felt ashamed, she felt disappointed, and she felt very angry with herself. And she kept on trying until the whole group was standing around her and saying how to do it like this, do it like that, don't take it so seriously, it doesn't matter, it's not that bad. And with everything those people said, she felt worse until she realized that she was about to cry and she wanted to be held and she wanted to be hugged. But she wouldn't have accepted a hug from all the people standing around her and talking to her. And then one of the women said, okay, let's leave her alone, she's going to manage on her own. And they left and she cuddled down next to the place which she had prepared for the fire, and she was just lying there in her pain. And suddenly the teacher showed up and he looked at her and she could see in his eyes that he exactly knew what she felt like. And then he asked, is it difficult for you right now? And she said, yes, it's difficult for me right now. And after that he said, the pain you are experiencing can be there, just let it be there. And at that moment she burst into tears. She got up and he took her in his arms and he held her while she was crying and crying and crying. And suddenly this old pain came up when she was a child, that she was always the last one and the only one who couldn't manage. And she went through that pain. And later she told us that that was such a life-changing moment and a new door opened in her life when she felt held in her pain and accompanied. And she also told us that she would have never accepted a hug from the other people around her because nobody asked her how she was, nobody asked her how she felt, nobody asked her what she needed. But they all had their prepared answers or suggestions or solutions without really being interested in what she was going through. And I also know this experience from my own life, and it's a big topic. And every time I'm vulnerable, I disclose my feelings, I share how I feel, people try to fix me instead of really accompanying me and being interested in how I feel and to just being with me in those processes. Yes, and so what is the way out? By noticing our feelings, letting them be there, acknowledging them and allowing them. In ourselves and also in others. And by starting to communicate our feelings and projections, and above all, what we most want to hide. I'd like to communicate something, but not because I'm looking for advice, solutions, diagnoses, or words that comfort my state away, but because sharing all this is actually the healing we're all looking for. I feel so scared, completely abandoned, let down and left alone. There's the impulse to hold on to somebody, but there is no one. It has nothing to do with you here and now, but it is something old. Nevertheless, I find it healing to share it with you and that you can just be with it. Yes, thank you very much. I feel really touched by your honesty, vulnerability and your courage. I know those feelings very well, and can I do anything or contribute anything so I can support you to be with those feelings? If our feelings are allowed to stay, we don't suppress them anymore and they can be integrated. And also the hidden emotions and the pain underneath can slowly surface and dissolve. Because when we go through our pain, a new door opens. When we integrate our suppressed emotions and parts of our personality, the search in the outside world stops. And we reconnect with our full potential. And we can unconditionally give from our inner abundance instead of being driven by fear and lack and wanting and needing all kinds of things. And it's actually so easy to put ourselves into the shoes of the other person. And imagine what it would feel like if we were told what we want to tell the other person. And to see if that would be helpful, if that would change anything, if we would feel seen, heard and accepted and acknowledged in our feelings and accompanied. But usually we're so much in a hurry to say something helpful and to make the person feel better so that we cannot integrate all those feelings because we always do something to make them go away. I'm scared to slip and to fall into the void. Can I do anything, or is it better now that you have expressed it? I feel differently now that I feel seen and heard and acknowledged. Compassion and connection instead of disconnection through advice, solutions, diagnosis, comforting words, wisdom or pseudo-wisdom in order to get rid of the feelings. Do we want to continue like that? And continue to keep ourselves and each other trapped in our conditionings by our dysfunctional way of relating? or communicate our taboos and feelings and acknowledge each other's emotions and accompany each other with compassion. And our name is Oliver Farrago.